very different than most finance sites, because quite frankly, most finance sites are all about exploiting the misery of others for personal gain. So it's, water's going to be really scarce. Go and buy shares in the water company. Then you'll make a fortune when people are desperate. That's the kind of advice. It's all about investment, and it's all about making money. We're trying to help ordinary people rescue what they have worked so hard for all their lives from the grip of the system, so that ordinary people get to keep some of it. Why should it all disappear into a giant black hole of credit destruction? Why should the bankers get it all? We're going to start seeing credit markets seriously fall within the next 6 months. And where credit markets lead, the real economy will follow. So we're going to start to see the beginnings of what's coming. I think the worst of the effects in the real economy are probably next year rather than this year. It's hard to say, though, because these things are swings of positive feedback. They start slow, but they can build up a kind of critical mass, and all of a sudden, in September 2008, I believe we came within about 6 hours of the entire banking system seizing up. Unfortunately, you can't stop future generations from forgetting the lessons of the past. I mean, we have forgotten the lessons that our grandparents learned in the Depression. We allowed it to happen again. What tends to happen is the laws that are brought in after the fact to control these things tend to last just about long enough until they would be useful again, in which case they're dropped. So all the regulations that were brought in the late 1930s were dropped again in the 1980s, just in time for everything to expand again. I think liberty is going to be a casualty of things going forward, and unfortunately, almost no matter where you are. And I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, "He who trades liberty for security shall enjoy neither." And that's very much the case. But frightened people do give up their civil liberties, and they don't realize that you're never getting them back again unless you fight for them all over again. But frightened people do these things. They allow their liberties to be taken away from them. Relationships are the stickiest things. They're the most important things, but they can really be sources of division if it's the wrong people that you're pulling resources with. It's more important to get the right people than to worry about structures, physical structures. If you have the right people, you can move mountains together in ways you could never hope to do on your own. Usually, cash and cash equivalents are safe for the period of deleveraging. 5 years is probably a bit too long, really, but I would think you'd want to try and get yourself settled as soon as you can, on the whole, because for one thing, you're going to need learning curve time, and if you've got the money to do it with no debt, buying yourself a learning curve is an extremely valuable thing to do, because if you buy yourself a farm or something, you have to learn how to use it, and you have to give yourself time to make mistakes. It's a dig your well before you're thirsty principle, that if you do it in advance, then you've figured it out, you have time to make mistakes before you have to rely on the results. can't be complacent about these things. And it's far better to be early, even a year or more too early, than 5 minutes too late. So you do have to be aware that things can unfold very quickly once they get going.